Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Mrs. Harris, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time to be with us this afternoon. First of all, we want you to sit back, relax. We're going to have a pleasant conversation about what's happening in our community. It is election year, and we want to make sure that our voters are informed, and that's why we're hosting this event today. It is not a debate. We're not going to talk about what somebody else is not doing. We want to know what will you be doing to make the city of Atlanta a better place for the residents. We have yard signs, we have campaigning, but many of our residents do not have the opportunity to put your face and put together with your yard sign so they know who you are. When they go to the polls, we want to make sure they are informed, they know who they're voting for, and they know that you are going to be the person that's going to do exactly what you said you're going to do as you campaign in 2021. So again, we welcome you and we thank you for being with us. Again, my name is Mrs. Harris. I'm an Adamsville resident, and some of you probably saying, well, where is Adamsville? Adamsville is 10 minutes from downtown Atlanta. We are one exit from Six Flags Over Georgia and Fulton Industrial and Cascade. That is where we live. It is a multi-generational community. We care about our children. We care about their parents. And we want the children to know and the families to know that even though we're not biologically, but we are totally committed to working with the community and to working with the senior citizens. And that's why we're here today. We take voting very serious in our community. We had an incident a couple of years ago, and they changed our polls. We were not pleased with that. We advocated with the city hall. They gave us 2,500 flyers, and we went door to door to make them change the poll back to where we had been. And it was a safety for all of our residents. And so we know when you come together, you have a voice, and we are that voice. And that's why we're talking to you today. In my community, we get to know each other. When we go to the store, we know our neighbors, and we want that to be all over the city. We need to know who's here. We need to know who's representing us, and not just have to use GPS to come and find us when it's election time. So we know that's why you're here today, because you want to be a good representation, a good leader for not just my community, but for all the communities in the city of Atlanta. In my community, we want more economic development. Affordable housing is key. We used to call it, we would call the bedroom community. Well, the bedroom and all that sleepy stuff is gone. Because we're so close to downtown Atlanta, we're now experiencing where developers are coming to our neighborhoods, and where we traditionally have ranch houses, they're now being topped out in double deckers. So we want to make sure that affordable housing is there. We want to see development. However, we do not want displacement from our seniors. We're looking for job training programs. And we're going to be talking about another project we'll talk about later, but we're looking to train the young people. So when they get to be a teenager, they don't have to wonder where I'm going to work. Most teenagers will say, I want to be a fireman or a policeman. And why is that? In my opinion, is because they don't get a chance to see a lot of doctors in our neighborhood, a lot of lawyers in our neighborhood, other professions. So we want to be able to show them that you have a variety of things that you can be. As long as you can dream it, you can achieve it. And so I'm going to finish with my little conversation, because I say we're going to have a very pleasant conversation this afternoon, and we will be getting back with you. The candidates are on the line today, because we are going to be being very proactive and getting your information out to our residents. So when we go to the poll, our voices and our vote will be heard. And I thank you for that. I'd like to have Miss McMichael, would you please come on and just take a few minutes and just to share. This is an outstanding young woman in our neighborhood. We are so glad she's there, and she's making some things happen when it comes to, I thought I was passionate about kids before. Miss McMichael, bring you talk about kids, and she can tell you something. So it is my pleasure and my honor, my privilege to introduce my neighbor and the future leader of our community, Miss McMichael. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I want to introduce myself. I am Arleshia McMichael. I'm an advocate for the Adamsville community, and I want to take time to speak on the education of our children. We have to remember our children are our future. They are the future leaders of America, and if we don't invest in them right now, we don't know where they will be. Adamsville, our Adamsville community, we envision a community that's building a foundation for our children, building a foundation for knowledge, building the foundation, as Ms. Harris say, for business trainings. And it's not just starting with high school and middle school. We're starting from the early age on up to high school and beyond. And right now we're just sticking together and collaborating as a community to make efforts to build the bridge between education and our community. It's imperative that we invest in our children. This is imperative to Adamsville, not just Adamsville or our organizations. This is for our children. Our children are our everything. They're our future. They're our livelihood. Ms. Harris and her team and Stand Up work tirelessly every day to make sure that this bridge is built, to make sure our children have the education that they need. I also wanted to speak on just how important education is. Education don't just start within elementary school. It starts before elementary school. Children learn within their mother's womb. They can hear the music, they can hear the reading. So it's very important. And as a community, we're trying to build it as a whole, from before birth all the way up through the beyond years of education. And we just taking the time out to get to know the candidates so we can see on how we need to build around our community and around our children. The foundation is very important, and it's a key to everything that we have going on. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and get our meet and greet started. The first group that you'll be hearing from will be the city council presidents, those people that are running for city council. What does a city council president do? The person is elected at large citywide, serves a 4-year term. They break ties when there's a necessary for a tie to be broken with the council. If anything should happen to the mayor for whatever reason, they then step up. And there's no term limit for the city council. And they also do policies. And we've had some city councilmen have done what they should be doing. And we're going to make sure that when we help select you, you also be doing the things that you say that you are going to do. Campaign promises will be fulfilled. Is that not what we're talking about? So we have this afternoon with us, we have Ms. Natalyn Archibong. We have Mr. Michael Russell, Mr. Doug Shipman, and Mr. Courtney English. I'm going to give you 3 questions. Hey, I'm going to give you 3 questions. And again, I want you to just relax, and we're just going to have a conversation about what's going on. First question, we're going to speak to Ms. Archibong. Would you please, what leadership skills would you bring to the position of city council president?
Thank you very much for that question. I have been elected 5 terms by the citizens on the Council District 5 side of town. And so I would bring to the office the experience that I have gained, not only as a legislator, but as someone who has a track record of being accountable and making promises that are in fact kept. And so I will be building on not only my legislative and the experiences that I have gained as a representative of a council district, I will be scaling that up and bringing to the office of council president leadership that is grounded in experience, that is connected to the people. And I am looking forward to having a check and balance within our system that allows for communication with the executive branch, also with the legislative branch. It is my belief that I've served under 4 different council presidents and 3 different mayors. And there's been a bottleneck between the office of council president and the mayor's office because of this competition. They believe that the council president is in the wings waiting to pounce to become mayor. Listen to me clearly. I do not want to be mayor. I want to serve the council. I want to serve the community. And I bring a track record of, as I've said, experience and deliverables. I have always been responsive to my constituents. I have a strong track record in that, and I will be building on that. And day one, I will be ready to bring Atlanta to the place where it deserves to be and where it can be, with strong, committed leadership focused on serving we the people. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. The next question, and we have 1 minute for your responses, please, because we want to make sure we get everybody a chance to have their questions answered so that the constituents can hear what each and every one of you are saying. The next question, Ms. Archibong, I'm sorry. What is your vision for first Southwest Atlanta, and then 30 seconds on Southwest Atlanta, and then 30 seconds on what do you see, since you're city council president, what do you see for the entire city? 30 seconds for the first part for Southwest and 30 seconds for Atlanta.
Southwest is the crown jewel of the city of Atlanta. It is a place where we have beautiful houses. We have a legacy of small businesses, and C.T. Martin has taught me well about the wonders and the importance of Southwest Atlanta. I will carry on that tradition of respecting that community and doing all that I can to support initiatives that bring economic development, that keeps the community safer and brings the infrastructure that you deserve. Relative to a citywide vision,
yes, please.
Is to have a safe, strong Atlanta. That means that we're going to focus on all the underpinnings of what causes crime. We're going to address those, and that will require partnerships beyond just the city, but strengthening those relationships with APS, the county, and making sure that we're dealing with our corporate and philanthropic partners in a way that we're bringing best in class for our citizens of Atlanta. I see a safe city. I see a clean city. I see a city where infrastructure needs are being addressed in a timely way, and that we are building trust with our community.
Okay.
Work we
All
do.
right. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. And your last question. You have 2 minutes for that question. The top 3 priorities for Atlanta.
Well, I've already, I think I've kind of touched on this, but crime is the number one issue. It is a situation where people feel unsafe. You know, my daughter was recently a victim of an attempted carjacking. I've got legislation pending now that is going to be asking that every gas station operator have a camera on every pump. I'm the only council member who's ever had a retired police officer working on my team. She's been with me 19 years. We believe in community policing, and I want to scale that up in a way that we have the real connection between community needs and the work of not over policing, but having well-trained police. I also believe that affordable housing, we're at a crisis point. We've got to come up with innovative ways to deal with this crisis so that the legacy families can stay, and that the younger people looking for their first job and housing, that they can stay, and that we have tools in our toolbox to help with the affordable housing crisis, and that we do systemic changes that address zoning and other issues that are a barrier to affordable housing. We have got to do the hard work of changing and eliminating those barriers. So those are the 2 big issues we're facing right now.
Okay. At this time, before you go, and we appreciate you, you have a 30-second close, please.
I want to thank Adamsville for bringing this forum, for bringing so many people together who care about our city and who want to serve. I have a 20-year track record, not only of being an elected official, but being an elected official, a public servant who listens, who cares about Atlanta. I'm a Spell House baby. My mom and dad met at Spelman. I'm a product of APS. I'm an attorney by training. My law office is in the community I serve. I look forward to continuing to serve our beautiful city and our wonderful citizens, especially in the Adamsville area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Archibong. We should appreciate you taking time out. Thank you so very much for asking those questions. Okay, next we're going to go ahead and go to Mr. Shipman. Doug Shipman, you have 1 minute, and your question is, what leadership skills would you bring to the position of council president? And you have 1 minute, sir.
Well, thank you for having us today. It's a real pleasure to see everybody and for you to be here. I was tapped in 2005 for a 10-week project to envision a new civil rights museum. And that turned into me leading the entire effort to build the Center for Civil and Human Rights downtown for 10 years, including making sure that we kept the King Papers in Atlanta at Morehouse, making sure that we built the center and that it was successful. And I had to work across all parts of the community. I had to work with legends like Andy Young and John Lewis and C.T. Vivian, but also with folks who were the ground foot soldiers in the movement. And so that type of leadership experience, bringing together communities, building audacious projects, making things happen, and it had a lot of public and private partnerships and money in it. That's exactly the kind of leadership that I would bring to city council president, where we need to bring the council together to work well, but we also need to make sure that the city is working better, because
Okay.
right now the city's just not working so well.
All right. Thank you very much. Number two, what is your vision for our community in Southwest and also the city of Atlanta? 30 seconds for Southwest and 30 seconds for the city of Atlanta, please.
And District 9.
So Southwest Atlanta, I think, has told me in the campaign that the needs are similar to the rest of the city. We need more resources around public safety, need resources around things like eliminating tire dumping and making sure that drainage is working and making sure that yard trimmings are picked up and that the basic services of the city are working. And then also need real investments. We put so many incentives into big projects north of I-20. We need to make sure that money is actually flowing south of I-20 for small and large businesses. For the whole city, I think we really need to make sure that we are growing in a way that does not leave behind 25% of our citizens. We had 25% poverty in the city of Atlanta pre-COVID. I think we have to grow in a way that allows everyone to have a foothold to make the life that they want to live. And that's the kind of policies that I want to bring forward.
What is you have 2 minutes to talk about your top 1 to 3 priorities in the city of Atlanta. What
Sure.
would they be? You have 2 minutes, please. Go ahead.
There are really 3 large priorities. One is around public safety and health. I think we know that public safety is a symptom of how healthy and how strong your city is. And so we have to invest to make sure that we don't have neighborhoods that are left behind. We don't have the poverty levels that we've seen. And in the shorter term, I think we have to make sure that we're investing in making sure that our police officers are trained, that we have enough police officers, that we actually are in communities and that we're making relationships so that our police and our fire and rescue know and live in the communities that they serve, and so that folks feel as if they're safe and can move around the city. Second, we have to make sure that our infrastructure and services are working. You mentioned job training. We've had to send money back to the federal government of job training dollars because we couldn't necessarily spend it appropriately. We've seen the inability to get housing dollars out of the door. We have to make sure that we're investing in the city itself so that folks have parks and sidewalks and lights and things actually work. And then the third is we have to make sure that we're growing in a way that really allows everybody to participate. And I think that comes down to incentives, like I mentioned. I think we have to invest in early childhood care so that parents can have great child care and great early education, preparing their kids to go to school. I think we have to make investments in very small businesses, especially in places like Southwest that haven't gotten those kinds of investments at the level that they should. We need to make sure that we're not just growing and getting bigger, but that we're actually growing in a way that folks are excited about Atlanta and want to stay for multiple generations. And that also means that we have to grow in a way that we don't displace folks. And I think both for owners and for renters, we have to make sure that we're making investments so that those who have lived in neighborhoods can both stay in neighborhoods and enjoy the growth as it occurs. And so I think it's really those 3 things that I'm focused on.
Thank you so very much. And you have a 30-second close, please.
Well, I think this is an incredibly important time. The city council president needs to be one that can work across the whole city, that can work with whoever's elected mayor, and that can actually bring people together. And I think that I've had very unique experiences, both in the nonprofit sector and in the private sector, that allow me to be a very, very impactful leader at this important moment. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be running for this office. Thanks.
And we sure appreciate you being here with us today. Thank you so very much. Next, we have Mr. Mike Russell. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Thank you very much.
Okay. 1 minute. Same question. What leadership skills would you bring to the position of city council president? You have 1 minute, please.
Well, thank you. I am a retired Army officer, and my background is law enforcement. And I've done law enforcement. I've been the chief of police at military bases around the world. I've done law enforcement from the local level to the international level. And I know how to tackle this crime problem that we have currently in our city of Atlanta. I've also been a city manager on military bases where I was responsible for city services. And at my last duty station, our team was voted the best in the United States Army for the city services that we provided to our residents. And I've also had a lot of experience with negotiations. I've negotiated from the tribal level all the way up to the international level again. And I believe I can bring these leadership skills and these experiences to bear here in Atlanta as we tackle the crime problem, our dysfunctional city services, and our budgeting issues so that we serve all the people here in Atlanta. And I'm asking you and your residents of Adamsville to support this campaign so that together we can make our city, Atlanta, the cradle of the nonviolent civil rights movement, a safer and better city for everybody.
Okay. What is your vision for, you have 1 minute, your vision for Southwest and then the 30 seconds for Atlanta?
Well, I want to see a better city, not just a bigger city. And I think we start by investing in people and we stop investing in things. And that has been one of the mistakes the city has made in the past is investing in shiny new objects, but not investing in individual human beings. So I think we need to redirect ourselves to individual human beings. My goal for the southwest part of Atlanta, just like for the rest of Atlanta, is that people become self-sufficient. I, for one, am tired of people being dependent upon government. I want folks to be self-sufficient and independent. I want them to have the pride of home ownership. I want to protect our legacy residents so they're not forced out of their homes through taxes or because they can't afford to keep their homes up. So, and the other thing is education, which, like the speaker said before, education starts in the home. The school is a tool that is provided by society to help parents educate their kids. But our education starts in the home, and we've got to help families. We've got to invest in those individuals so that we have holistic education from birth until late in life, that we are taking care of individuals again and not just investing in institution and things. And again, for the whole city, my number one priority is getting this crime under control, fixing our dysfunctional city services, and reorienting our budgeting process so that it is more equitable to all parts of the city.
Okay, thank you very much. And your last question, sir. What are your top 1 to 3 priorities for the city of Atlanta? You have 2 minutes, please.
So again, I want to build a better Atlanta, not just a bigger Atlanta. And that starts again with people. And the number one issue for everyone in our city is public safety. That is my strong suit. That is what I've done during my career. And I believe that I can work with the new mayor, the city council, our sheriff, DA, and others to form a coalition to get this crime under control that affects everybody. I've heard people call in and say, hey, quit putting our brown and black brothers and sisters in cages. But they never talk about our older legacy residents that I've also heard call into the city council and beg for help, beg for more policemen so that they're not living behind burglar bars. I want this city to be safe for everybody. I've done that before. I can do it again here in Atlanta. The next thing is I want to fix the dysfunctional city services, from the potholes and plates that plague our city roads to the lack of trash that's being picked up, the lack of security lights and cameras. It's just they're all symptoms of a dysfunctional government that needs to be cleaned up. And I'm bringing to the table determined leadership to do just that. And then our budget needs to be reoriented so again, it is focused towards people and not things, that we can get this city cleaned up and headed back on the right track. And again, I'm asking for your voters, if they want, and I've said this to every group we've spoken to, I will come and talk to 5 or 500. I'll come to your front porch. I'll come to your backyard. I'll come to your church so that you can question me and ask me and look me straight in the eye, and I will address your concerns because I'm just in this race to make Atlanta better. I have no desire to become mayor. Me and Ms. Archibong, we agree on that point. I'm just here to serve like I've done my entire life.
Okay. You have a 30-second close, please.
I want to thank you for having me here. Again, I would love to come out to your organizations or individual homes to come out and speak to people so they can look me in the eye and ask me those tough questions. And I look forward to being your city council president.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much. We got next here from Mr. Courtney English.
Hey, how are you?
I am wonderfully well. What about yourself?
I am great. Good to be with you.
Great. Like to first question is, what leadership skills would you bring to the position of council president? You have 1 minute, sir.
Well, thank you so much for the question and for the opportunity. I'm a proud son of the city. I've spent a lifetime running towards the biggest problems that Atlanta has faced. First, as a classroom teacher on Atlanta's West Side, where I taught 7th grade social studies in the exact same room I took 7th grade social studies. Then I had the honor of being elected and representing the entire city of Atlanta on the Atlanta Public School Board, where I worked to uncover and then clean up after the largest cheating scandal in American history. Together, we raised teacher pay, put more money into the classrooms, and increase APS's graduation rate to a record high. I'm currently working for an affordable housing nonprofit where we bring affordable housing to all areas of this city and provide meaningful wraparound services to residents. I most recently had the pleasure of leading an eviction relief fund that raised $10 million and served 4,000 families and helped them stay in their homes through this pandemic. And so I've got a track record of tackling big problems. I'm a son of this city, and I look forward to serving this city as city council president and meeting this critical moment that we are currently facing.
Okay, what's your vision for, you have 1 minute, your vision for Southwest Atlanta and then for Atlanta? 30 seconds for each, please. Go ahead.
Well, I first and foremost want Southwest Atlanta to be a safe place. I want it to be have access to clean neighborhoods and the kinds of community programs that I could experience when I was going to school at Kaya Heights Elementary School. Programs like SWABO, the Southwest Atlanta Youth Business Organization, that taught me a lot about business and mainly how to give back to the community. I want to ensure that our seniors can age in place, that we have access to economic development, meaningful jobs, access to affordable housing, and that we're taking care of the basics of government. And that's the same vision I have for the entire city, a city government that leads with compassion, that leads with urgency, that leads with heart, that is dedicated to making things happen for people, particularly neighborhoods that have gone without development for far too long. We have a city that has been a tale of two cities for far too long, and it's time to close the book on a tale of two cities.
Okay, all right. You have a 30-second close, please.
Yeah, so listen, I appreciate this incredible opportunity. Again, I'm a son of this city, a graduate of Kaya Heights, Frederick Douglass High School, and Morehouse College. I'm a product of this very community. And one of the things that I've learned that you all, frankly, have taught me is that there's nothing wrong with this city that can't be solved by what's right with this city. And so I'm bringing a dedicated track record of running towards the biggest challenges that we face, from getting back to basics to ensuring safe and clean streets and making sure our kids have opportunities to grow up and thrive. And that's what I'll do as city council president.
Okay. I'd like to thank you for those comments. I'd like to just take a brief minute to say it was a labor of love. It was a challenge, but it's so fulfilling because our voters are going to be so informed. We're going to make a decision and we're going to make sure we're with y'all. We're going to hold ourselves accountable, hold you accountable, hold everybody accountable. So it's going to be a good time in Atlanta starting 2022. At this time, we are going to go ahead and we're going to change and go to our city council. We have Mr. Jason Hudgins and Mr. Devin Barrington Ward that will be joining me. Okay. City council. What does city council do? The city's policymaking authority is given to the governing council, consisting of 15 members. The city council is responsible for adopting ordinances, budget, setting policy for the city. They work hand in hand with the mayor's office and members of the executive board. The council plays a key role in the project and the budget process and financial well-being. We're going to start with your question. I want Mr. Hudgins. The gap between income levels are getting wider and wider between communities in Atlanta. How would you work to decrease the gap?
Thank you so much, Ms. Harris, and it's great to be here with you tonight. I would begin by looking at, and the statistics are clear, that if you want to increase economic mobility, if you want to increase wages in the community, then you should focus in and invest in locally owned businesses. In the Adamsville community, and particularly in the 10th district, this means that we need to invest in Black-owned businesses, and particularly Black-owned businesses that are owned by women. If we were to invest at that level, 96 cents out of every dollar that is invested or spent in a Black-owned business comes directly back to that community. That is the first way that we should do it. We should also look at and mitigate issues around housing, because how people are spending their money, if they are house burdened, that creates a barrier to be able to use their income in order to provide some economic mobility.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. What skills do you bring to the position that you want to be the council person for District 10?
Yes, ma'am. I am a corporate trainer by trade. I've run a multinational training organization for the last 10 years. It is literally my job to teach leaders how to leverage their team, data, and information to drive better results. I believe that as a city, we need to be using data and information to make decisions about how we invest, where we should be invest, not just for now, but for the future as we go forward. How should Atlanta be growing in the future? I'm also a former community president. I was president of the Westview community on the east side of the district for 4.5 years. And I was also a former chairman of Neighborhood Planning Unit T, where I also served on the board for 4.5 years, formerly serving as public policy director. I worked on many of these issues at the most intimate level of the community. And I'm looking to bring that skill now to the council, both from an accountability standpoint, but also from a result standpoint.
Okay. You now have 2 minutes to what top 3 economic development do you see for the 10th district?
Yes, ma'am. There are 3 major issues that I built my campaign on. The first is health and safety. And you'll notice that I said safety and not crime. I heard the council president candidates, but we have to realize that crime is a symptom. Crime is a symptom of communities that are not properly invested in, communities that do not have proper streetlights, proper sidewalks, where there are blighted houses, and where economic development has been passed that community by. Also, when I look at one of the pillars, we have to look at health. There is not a hospital south of I-20 before you get to East Point. A child that's born in the 10th district has a life expectancy that is 13 years shorter than a child born just 9 miles north in Vinings. We have to mitigate those issues and invest in those areas. As for public safety, I would focus in on breaking APD up into smaller pieces and removing and creating a better opportunities for efficiency to make sure that when someone calls 911, that the police actually do show up and that they are properly trained in that area. Also, transportation, focusing in on making sure that the community is properly connected in both to rail, bus lines, but also to new forms of transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Hudgins. Appreciate that. You have a 30-second close, please, sir. 30 seconds.
Yes, ma'am. I have been intimately involved with these issues at the community level, both as an MPU chairman and as a neighborhood president. I'm asking for your vote and asking for you to connect with my campaign. There's more at jason4atl.com, because I'm looking to not just make the 10th district a bastion and a place of excellence and an epicenter for excellence, but also an epicenter for solutions in our city.
Okay. Thank you so very much. Appreciate those comments. Okay, we have Mr. Devin Barrington Ward. Are you there, sir?
I am. How are you doing, Ms. Harris?
I am wonderful. First of all, I'd like to just ask you same question I asked Mr. Hudgins. The gap between income levels are getting wider and wider between communities in Atlanta. How would you work to decrease this gap?
Yes. So first, I would be making sure that people have more money in their pocket. As some of the city council candidates mentioned, we do invest way more in corporations and big shiny things, and we don't invest enough in our people. And when we don't invest in our people, it shows up in the fact that the city of Atlanta has the highest income disparity in the country. One of the ways that I plan on doing that is helping out renters so that they can eventually become homeowners. The way that we do that is helping them save and put more money in their pocket. I plan to introduce legislation that will create a grant fund that will incentivize landlords to keep rent flat for the next 3 or 4 years on low income and middle income families. And the way that we'll do that is give them money to renovate their property. So if you take $20,000 to $30,000 to renovate your unit or your house for a low and middle income family, we will give you that money free of interest, free of tax. It's yours to do whatever you need to the property. But if you take that money, you cannot raise rent on those low and middle income people that are living in your unit.
Right. Thank you for those comments. Appreciate that. What skills do you bring to the position that you want to be Council District 9 representative?
Yes, I bring the skill of a community organizer. Community organizers know the pulse of the people because I've walked the district. I've knocked on the doors before I was running for office to find out what the concerns are of the community. But in addition to that, I've been a community organizer that has also been a strong advocate down at City Council. That means working on legislation to include more funding for HIV prevention and treatment services, both at the state and at the city level. That has also included diverting funding from the corrections department towards community crime prevention programs, such as the full expansion of Atlanta Fulton Pre-Arrest Diversion Initiative via the 311 system. I have so many legislative accomplishments underneath my belt as a community organizer and a private citizen, and I will bring that same energy as a city council member for Council District 9.
Okay, thank you very much for those comments. You have 2 minutes for the next question, your last question. What top 3 economic development, how would you see economic development in that area?
Yeah, so I talk about my campaign being really built on the 3 Ps, which is first, public safety, poverty, and public infrastructure. On public safety, we know that public safety, that the challenge to public safety, the greatest challenge to public safety is poverty in the city. Make no mistake, Atlanta will never be safe if we continue to collude with high rates of poverty in our communities. So the ways that I will deal with that is through investing in public infrastructure that puts people to work. We know that the majority of the crime, property crime that's happening in the city of Atlanta is going on with young people between the ages of 15 and 24. When you talk to them, they oftentimes want to be able to learn a trade and work in a jobs program that fills the vacancies at the Department of Public Works, which is responsible for repaving our roads and filling potholes, and put those young people to work through apprenticeship programs where they can earn $15 to $20 to $25 an hour working those jobs. We have the money for it now through the T-SPLOS, and we'll also have additional funds through the infrastructure package coming from Washington, D.C. And those are the ways that we will be eliminating poverty, is through investments in public infrastructure, and that will increase the public safety in our community when more people have money in their pockets and don't have to turn to a life of crime to sustain themselves.
All right, thank you very much. You have a 30-second close, sir.
Well, thank you all, Georgia Stand Up and the Adamsville community, for allowing me to speak with you all today. You can find more information about my campaign at wakeupatl.org. That is wakeupatl.org. I'm proud to be the candidate running in this district, the community candidate that's running in this district, and I'm excited to take Atlanta to the next level where we are no longer colluding with poverty, which is the #1 symptom for crime in this city. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Again, I appreciate those comments. We're going to take a short break. We're going to take a short break, and then we'll be back with the school board, the people to make things happen for our children. We'll take a quick break.
I do apologize about that. It seems as though I was muted, but thank you so much for joining the Adamsville Community Candidates Virtual Meet and Greet today. Georgia Stand Up is so proud and elated to be able to host this event so that our community and the hopeful voters are able to see exactly what they are voting for. Not only is there an importance to do voter registration and also make sure that you're registered to vote, but we do also believe in getting out to actually vote. So if you're not registered to vote or you need to check your registration, please contact Georgia Stand Up at georgiastandup.org, or you can call in at 404-581-0061. Remember, there are some important election dates coming up, such as September 28th, which is National Voter Registration Day, October 4th, which is the voter registration deadline. So that is the date that you need to make sure that you are registered to vote or check your registration. Make sure that your dates and all of your addresses and everything are correct. October 12th through 29th is early voting, and this also includes both Saturdays for Saturday early voting. Then Tuesday, November the 2nd will be our general election. And if there is a runoff for any of these races that we are doing a meet and greet for today, that will be on November 30th, which will be the runoff election. Please visit georgiastandup.org and also contact the Adamsville community for any more details about any candidates or voter registration and getting out to vote efforts. If you are in need of an absentee ballot, please make sure that you contact the local state board of elections so that you're able to get your absentee ballot. Adamsville, this is the first installment of the Adamsville meet and greet. Today you are able to meet the city council presidents, the council districts number 10 and number 9, and as well as our Atlanta school board. On Thursday, there will be another virtual meet and greet, so you can join us here on YouTube and Facebook at the same time to meet the Atlanta City Council for posts 1, 2, and 3 at large, and a few more of our Atlanta Board of Educations. Please enjoy the rest of this program today, and I will make sure that we are joining back in with Ms. Harris. So the intermission is over.
Thank you so very much for that information, Ms. Singleton. We're going to go ahead and Ms. McMichael, we're bringing you on. And school board, you want to go to your school board and we'll go from there.
Okay. Hello, everyone again. Uh-oh.
Excuse me, the first ones we're going to hear from will be District number 5, Erica Mitchell and Renard Johnson. District 5, Erica Mitchell and Renard Johnson. Hmm?
It looks as though Erica Mitchell and Mr. Reynard are not joined yet, so we will continue on to the next set of school board districts.
The next one will be District number 9 at large will be Jason Esteves, DeJaris James, and Jason Allen. Ms. McMichael, are you there?
So the first question would be for Mr. Jason Allen. What skills will you bring to this position, you think?
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason B. Allen. I am a 17-year educator, and I think that I would bring a sense of expertise in regards to governance, but also how innovation impacts teaching and learning in the classroom. Currently, as a special education teacher, I definitely am familiar with federal policies, procedures, and processes that are really allowing our school system to implement better educational outcomes and teaching and learning models.
Okay. The next question would be, the current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make these goals happen?
Equity is a word that a lot of people, including my students, are all talking about. And I think it believes with making sure that we have stronger partnerships with our communities and our families. Being a former district administrator leading family and community engagement, I understand the needs of District 5 and 6, having worked closely with those schools and having led the family engagement program for the Mays cluster of schools. It is vitally important that we have all stakeholders at the table: teachers, parents, students, retired educators, especially those who are working within our system, who are focusing on equity and making sure that it is reaching every area of the system.
Yes, sir. APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
Well, Atlanta Public Schools is moving to a charter system, which definitely allows flexibility, and we're seeing that model across the city of Atlanta right now. I believe that the main thing, having been a former charter board chairperson, is that we have to be strong on accountability and making sure that we are holding not just the superintendent, but also equally the board members who are leading this work in driving policy, making sure that we're budgeting for student success, and making sure that we are intentional about equity in every area of our system.
Yes. Well, that concludes the questions, but you have about 30 seconds to sum everything up, if you would, please.
Awesome. Well, I would just like to say that in closing, I am currently the only teacher within the classroom. There are two of us that have experience as 21st century educators. But I have definitely matriculated throughout the Atlanta public school system as a district administrator, a teacher in the Thero cluster, an after-school program director in District 5, and also apparently Asia, bridging the gap between our communities and our families.
Thank you so much, Mr. Jason.
Thank you.
And next we will have Mrs. James. Hello, how are you?
I'm doing well yourself.
I'm doing pretty good. Okay, you will have 1 minute for each question, and then we'll do a 30-second sum up at the end or conclusion. What skills will you bring to this position you seek?
The skills that I will be bringing to this position is my tenure and experiences working in human resources, coming in, developing and auditing policies so they can provide strategic process improvement, along with the expertise in talent acquisition, understanding how to attract top talent, how to retain top talent, and most importantly, to engage professional development of all of our stakeholders that are involved with our students.
Yes, ma'am. The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years, that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make these goals happen?
I think one of the first things we need to talk about is what does equity look like and what does equality look like? And I feel like it's a two-way street. So what I would do is the same thing I do on an everyday basis in HR, actually doing an audit of our communities and finding out what our stakeholders are looking for when it comes down to equality, and then providing a transparency report when it comes down to equity. And what that basically means, without having a bunch of wordy words that are similar to one another, is that using our community stakeholders to make sure that we have a fair playing field of experiences that equal opportunity for both professional and academic success as our students transition into the real world.
Yes, ma'am. APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
When it comes down to charters, the charter system is often sometimes confused with charter schools. I like to try and sometimes put an emphasis on it's setting up a free and flexible environment for Atlanta public schools. What I do believe that is imperative is that we focus on the accountability of our system that we do have in place, ensuring that our students have exposure, experience, and opportunities. Because if you only focus on one of the three or two of the three, there is a significant group of people who will equate to these disparities that will continue to further the gap of inequities, which we've already had a major conversation about. With us having to reach that goal, it would take almost a century to reach us to be at the level of equality. But it can take us a lot closer if we can address the inequities in the area to come closer to equity options.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Ms. James, this concludes the questions. You will have a 30-minute wrap up.
30 minutes? All right, let me go ahead.
I'm sorry, Ms. James. You have a 30-second wrap up. Thank you.
Absolutely. I want to start off by saying I am so grateful for the Adamsville community to invite me to this platform to have a conversation with you all, to meet and greet with myself. I'm a proud resident of this area and have worked very closely with these schools. I am someone that want to serve on this board because I will be bringing opportunities through my partnership of working for Fortune 500 companies, most importantly, developing policies that will be effective and progressive solutions for your community. Along with that, this will be an opportunity for you to get to know me more with future events. Please feel free to look at my website at votedejaris.com. I know that's a mouthful, so VOTEDJARIS, and please vote DeJaris James on November 2nd.
Thank you so much. You have a wonderful evening, Ms. James. Next, we have Mr. Jason. Hello, Mr. Jason. How are you?
Hello, good. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Okay, we're going to start with what skills will you bring to this position you seek?
Yeah, so I am currently the at-large Seat 9 board member, and I am also chair of the school board. So I bring the experience of having done this work for the last 8 years since I was first elected in 2013 to help turn around the school system. And since then, we've raised graduation rates from 51% to 80.3%, and we're continuing to get even higher. I also bring the experience of a former public school teacher. I taught middle school social studies in Houston, Texas, and I am also a current parent. I have my 6-year-old who goes to school, Bolton Academy, as a first grader today, and I also have a 3-year-old who will be soon, hopefully, getting to partake in the pre-K program at Bolton as well. So I bring the experience of a current elected school board member, a teacher, a parent, and of course my day job, I'm an attorney working in-house. And I think all of those skills inform the work that I do as part of the school board and as part of a leader in a community.
Okay, thank you. The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make this goal? Happen?
Yes, and I'm very proud of the equity work that we're doing. The first thing that I did as chair of the school board a little bit over 3 years ago was to create the equity task force, which drafted the equity policy that you're referencing. And because of that work that we did over the last couple of years, we now have equity policy that acknowledges the fact that there is systemic racism and that racism has put up barriers that is helping to prevent our children from getting the opportunities that they deserve. So as a school system, we have to do our part to make sure that we are tearing down barriers, whether they are in the classroom or in the community. To ensure that our students are receiving the opportunities that we all know that they deserve. So what does that mean? That means as a school board member holding the superintendent and the administration accountable to upholding that policy. They are just opening next week the Center for Equity and Social Justice, which has a chief equity officer who will be tasked with making sure that we put the equity policy into practice. And I think that's an important step to making sure that our students are receiving the opportunity that they deserve. But it also doesn't stop there. It also includes the work that we're doing around our stakeholders, like our parents and our community members. So it means having equity and having and ensuring that our communities are receiving the resources from Atlanta Public Schools that our communities need to thrive on top of the education. So that could, for example, be the work that the Adamsville community is doing around Towns Elementary School and trying to revitalize that area. I've also been proud to help and try to guide that process along as well. So when we talk about equity, it's not only about what's happening inside the classroom, but it's also what's happening around our school sites in our community.
Thank you. APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
Yeah, so I want to echo what's previously been said, which is that the charter system that APS is currently under has nothing to do with charter schools. We have not expanded charter schools in the last several years in Atlanta Public Schools. Instead, what has happened is that each school has been granted flexibility. Each school leader, each principal has been given a budget, and that principal is able to do with that budget what she or he believes is necessary for their students. And they're doing that in collaboration with a governance team. And that governance team is elected by parents, by teachers, even in the high schools, students make up this governance team that helps to drive the direction of the school. So for me, I am supportive of the charter system, which is again different than charter schools. The charter system which ensures that our schools are getting the flexibility that they need in order to meet the needs of the children in those individual neighborhoods.
Thank you, Mr. Jason. So that sums up our questions. You have 30 seconds for your close.
Thank you to the Adamsville community. Thank you to Georgia Stand Up for having this forum. My name is Jason Esteves, and since you reelected me 4 years ago, I am proud of the work that my colleagues and I have done over the last 4 years to help increase the graduation rate. We recently opened the Atlanta College and Career Academy, which allows our students in partnership with Atlanta Tech to receive vocational training and go from high school graduation right into a career. And we are putting the equity policy into practice. Those changes are making positive impacts in our community, but I know that the work is not done. So I'm asking for your vote for another 2 years. You can follow me online at Jason Esteves. That's Esteves. I look forward to continuing to work for you and to earn your support on November 2nd.
Thank you. District 5. Okay, we have District 5, Mr. Johnson and Miss Erica.
Can you hear me?
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good. I'm wearing my mask since I'm in a public space. Say what now? I cannot hear you now. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
You look back
What
out.
skills?
Yeah, I hear you.
What
hear you
skills will you? What skills will you bring to this position you seek?
I am a native Atlanta, born and raised here in Southwest Atlanta. I'm a graduate of Atlanta Public Schools. I'm also a graduate of Boston College with a degree in computer science. And I have over 40 years of experience in technology project management experience. I also have experience volunteering on the community level with respect to being a member of the Restorative Justice Board through Atlanta Municipal Courts. I'm also a member of the Fulton County District Attorney's Anti-Gang Violence Task Force. And I'm also a member of the Fulton County Court-appointed Special Advocates for Children. So I'm keenly aware of some of the issues surrounding the kids in the 5th Educational District.
Okay. The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make these goals happen?
With respect to equity in APS, that's one of the main tenets of my platform. With respect to equity, I want to fight to provide free Wi-Fi access for all K-9 City of Atlanta public school children. That will, in essence, end the digital divide, and I believe it will be a jumpstart to our economy post-COVID. So with respect to equity, I will fight to give every APS child and educator, every employee, access to Wi-Fi, free access to Wi-Fi. I think that would be the equalizer with respect to giving our kids access to platforms with the information that they can learn.
APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
First of all, I would kind of dismiss the premise of that question. APS is moving to a charter governance system that gives more flexibility to the local level of the school. We are not moving to a total charter system. We have a charter governance system, which was chosen by the previous school board with respect to the choices they had to choose through the State Department of Education. So I would dismiss that premise question by stating we are in a charter governance system, which is not the same as having a charter school system.
That sums up our questions. You have 30 seconds to give a conclusion, Mr. Johnson.
I would state that thank you for the opportunity for me to engage with the community of Adamsville. I would say I have a record of being an advocate and a fighter for the City of Atlanta public school children with respect to the Mays and Douglas area. I will continuously fight to have free Wi-Fi access for all of our schools. On the early child learning with respect to opening up more early childhood daycare learning centers in our community. In addition, I think we need to have better partnerships with the City of Atlanta Park and Recreation Department, because I believe we need to have enrichment and remediation programming for after-school programs in our communities. And also, I would say that with respect to giving our kids educational opportunities through our vocational ed program, I want to tie, this is very important, I would have specific legislative language in our procurement process to ensure that our special localized sales tax revenue contract, these companies will now be required to hire certified APS students for a 2 to 4 year apprenticeship program, or they should not get the contract with our public money.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I will now turn it back to Ms. Harris.
Okay, thank you so very much, Ms. McMichael, for doing an excellent job with the school board. At this time, we'll come back with, that was Mr. Bernard Johnson, that's running for school board 5 district. And the Erica Mitchell, we'll be bringing her on as she join us on the call in the near future. We're going to go ahead and move on. When we originally started this, the campaign, we were doing District 5 and District 9 at large, and we had several requests that they wanted to have us include all of the districts with the school board, and it was, again, our pleasure to add them to the session. So they were a total of 15, so we could not bring all 15 on at the same time. So we are doing some of them this evening, and on Thursday we will do the remaining of the school board. So at this time, we heard from District 5 and also District 9 at large. We're going to go on to APS Board of Education, District 1. Katie Howard and Waukesha Howell, are either of them with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi there. Would you introduce yourself? And you have 1 minute, Ms. McMichael.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you for having me. My name is Waukesha Howe. I was born and raised here in Atlanta, Georgia. I am a mother of 8, and they're in Atlanta Public School. I have 2 adult children, one that just graduated from Booker T. Washington High School, and I am running for Atlanta School Board District 1, and I am here to serve all families.
Okay, she's going to ask you questions.
Good evening, Ms. Howe. We're going to start with, what skills will you bring to this position you seek?
So the skills that I believe I currently have, just serving as a PTA mom and a GO team, I serve on the governance team Jason was just talking about. I'm compassionate, I'm a great listener, and I'm able to make decisions.
The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make this goal happen?
So first thing I would do is I would have to read the whole policy and make sure I understand it. And I also will make sure that it is written in a way where everyone in the community, including parents, understand this goal and the way the community which to take.
APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
So I have to share with the previous school board representative, and candidates have said they are not moving towards a charter system, a charter school system. It's more like a model that gives them the flexibility and autonomy to do certain things at each individual school. As I stated, I've served on the GO team in the chair of vice chair, clustery advisor. And this is about my 6th year. And so it just gives the school autonomy.
Okay, that concludes our questions. You have 30 seconds to sum everything up. Anything you want to tell us?
I just want to say thank you for having me. I was one of the ones that reached out and said, hey, I want to be a part of this. Like I said, I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Adamsville is very near and dear to my family. And so I just look forward to serving the community. Even once this election is over, I'm still going to be advocating for teachers and parents and the students, along with the community member. We need someone that's going to listen, and Waukesha Howe will be able to do it. You can check me out at waukeshahowe.com, and you can find me on all the social platforms. I'm very active, and I won't make a decision for you without you.
Thank you, Ms. Howe. You have a good evening.
You too.
Next, we will have Ms. Howard.
McMichael, she's not on the call yet. Go to District 2.
Go to District 2?
Yeah.
Okay, we will have Ms. Carey from District 2.
Next one.
Okay. I guess Ms. Ring.
Bathsheba Queen.
District 2.
Yes.
Hello, good evening. How are you?
Hello, how are you? Thank you so much for having me. Yes, I also reached out and said, hey, we want to be a part of this as well.
Yes, ma'am. So for the first 3 questions, you will have 1 minute, and then to conclude it, you will have 30 seconds. And we're going to start, Will. What skill will you bring to this position you seek?
Thank you for asking that question. I'm a mother of 1 and grandmother to 2. I have 20 years in creative and alternative education. I created my own community program right here in the Southwest West End of Atlanta, Georgia. I have been living in the West End for 4 years, Atlanta for 16 years, and downtown Atlanta for 4 years. And I grew up in the public school system of Detroit, Michigan. I also teach young adults how to start their own businesses, hire and coach team members, which create more jobs in this community in the Southwest West Side, and fight against systemic racism, against poverty. I'm currently teaching in the higher education system at Clark Atlanta University. I'm a multiple small business owner that gives me the unique experience with balancing and distributing fair budgets and vetting talent. I'm also adopted and was in the foster care system, which gives me the unique skill to be able to relate to children from all and diverse backgrounds.
Thank you. The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make these goals happen?
One of my very first goals when I decided to take the seat was to talk to the children of my community. And they said that the equity that they want to see is the equity in the curriculums. They want to see equity within their budgets. So if the northern schools in Atlanta's school system have equestrian and sailing, they would also like to have those electives to broaden their interest and hone in on their talent. So when I'm elected to seat 2, District 2 in the West End, then I will make sure that the equity is fair and balanced between all the school systems.
Yes, ma'am. APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
This has been an interesting point of contention. So yes, we are moving to a charter school system, which will be a flexible and give autonomy to the schools to make the best decisions for each school and for their students. And it will allow more equitable options for bridging the gap between parents, educators, and students. Going to a charter system can make a more flexible schedule, and there are equitable resources for all schools, given a budget necessary for their student, which involves our stakeholders, students, parents, and educators, and which will make a more positive impact in our community and lower the dropout rate.
Thank you so much. We're going to give you a 30-second conclusion so you can sum everything up.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be running for Seat 2, District 2, Southwest, West End for the Atlanta Public Schools Board of Education. My name is Bathsheba Rem, and you can remember to vote, early voting, and remember to vote for remedies. My website is Queen Sheba for Atlanta, and I just want to thank you for having me.
Thank you. You have a good evening, Ms. Rings. Okay, next, Balden. Go to the next one, Ms. Harris. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Olympiada, she does not have someone run against her, and so we're going to put her on another afternoon.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
The District 4 now to see if they, because of prior engagement, some of them were unable to be on the call because of the time of the call, but we want to make sure that the opportunity and the invitation was there for all
Yes,
those that
ma'am.
can actually be there. So we're going to see who's here from District 4 before we move on.
Okay, we have Miss Jennifer. Is Miss Jennifer on?
Okay, go on.
Is that Malika?
Malika.
Yeah, Malika. Hi, Miss Malika. How are you? Good evening. You muted.
Please unmute. Okay. We're okay. Take your time.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Hi.
Good
My
evening.
name is
How are you?
Arcibong. I'm good. How are y'all?
We're fine.
And please pronounce your name.
So my name is Michaela Arciaga. I know it is not as bad as it looks once you hear it. So
Right. So we apologize for not pronouncing it correctly. Go ahead.
Okay, Ms. Michaela, we're going to ask you 3 questions. You're going to have 1 minute to answer each question, and then we're going to do a conclusion where you have 30 seconds. And we're going to start with, what skills will you bring to this position you seek?
So I have worked as a teacher, a coach, and a policy advisor in Atlanta Public Schools, both before and during the pandemic. So I know firsthand a lot of the obstacles that our families and teachers and students especially faced and are still facing this year. I also bring the experience of having to build partnerships from my classroom with students and families and other teachers to create more inclusive learning environments. And I want to bring that same partnership to the district. I have also worked with school board members in multiple Atlanta metro districts and across the country, which has given me a very unique lens in researching, developing, and revising policies from the school board that ensure that we are placing students first in every single realm. I want to bring that same lens. I love that we're doing this policy revision, and I have explicitly revised policies in Clayton County as well as several districts across the country.
Okay.
Thank you. The current school board and staff leadership has a goal for the next several school years that equity between schools is important in the APS. How would you work to make this goal happen?
So I have a background in measurement and evaluation, and I feel like anytime we have an initiative like this, we need to make sure that it's informed with relevant data. The last time we did an equity audit in Atlanta Public Schools was 2014, and a lot has happened since then. And I think that we need to have we need to update that audit by proposing a new one and using that data to inform our advances and our initiatives for equity in this district. I also think it's important that we remember as board members that no district or cluster operates in isolation, and every vote on our board affects every student in our district. We have a lot of the same disparities in District 4 that happen across our district, and so we need to be making decisions that impact and support all of our students across the district, across the city. And I want to bring my policy background to ensure that we are making those decisions that are also practical at a ground level.
Thank you. The APS is moving to a total charter school system. Do you agree with this move? Why or why not?
So I won't take too much time to revoice what everyone has said. I do support flexibility and autonomy for our communities, but I actually have specific experience collecting the data that about our GO teams. And we see a lot of the same disparities that are emphasized by other data. And what I would like to see is that our district consolidate that data so that we have more transparency, more accessibility for our parents. Right now, any parent that wants to learn about a school has to go to that specific website and read and navigate that specific website's data and documents, which can be very time and accessibility prohibitive. I want to consolidate that. And I also want to see better efforts to recruit members of the community and our parents to participate in our GO teams. They provide incredible oversight and authority to our schools, and we still have significant vacancies in multiple GO teams across the district. So I'd like to see the district take accountability for our decision to decentralize by making sure that those teams are fully staffed and supported throughout the school year.
Okay. Thank you so much, Michaela. We're going to conclude it with a 30 seconds.
I want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I love the chance to get to meet more of you and talk to people about what is going on in our district. I believe that every member of this district, parent, student, teacher, family, staff, should not only know who their board member is, but know that their board member is going to respond to them. I did that in my classroom. I called every single one of my parents before the year even started, and I'm not above doing that in my district either. I believe everybody's voice needs to be heard. And I believe that everyone deserves a seat at the table, especially our students. I want our parents to feel like their concerns will be heard and that our district is going to stay at the forefront of learning and development. We need comprehensive options for virtual and in-person learning, and we need to ensure that our policies are developed and implemented in such a way that we are keeping our students first. I invite anyone to connect with me. My website is my last name, Arciaga, or like my district, aps.com. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You have a good evening.
You too.
Now I turn it over to Ms. Harris.
Is Miss Erica Mitchell with us? Erica Mitchell, District 5. Okay, she was on earlier. Again, we want to thank all the school board, the city council presidents, candidates that joined us this afternoon. Again, it was a pleasure and a challenge, but we did it. We did it. So we would like to extend an invitation, and I will be emailing out to all the candidates that have RSVP for this event. We're going to request that you send us a one-pager, include your photo on that one page, and we will disseminate it into the different neighborhoods. We have Miss Reynolds. She was very instrumental and work with us on this. And so we want to make sure she had submitted some of their community questions. And we want to forward this information to other communities as well. So we are going to be sending the email to you, and you send that to us, and we'll make sure that your information will get out to a lot of the seniors that were not able to be on the call today. We'll make sure that we send a pack of information out so they can read it, and they can also share it with their family and friends as well. So we had some other surrounding neighborhoods that helped do questions for this event. So we will be here on Thursday, as Ariel stated earlier, with Council District 11. We'll have Council District 9, posts 1, 2, and 3 at large will be on. And so that will conclude the, and we'll have school board. District 6 and District 7 and 8 at large will be joining us on Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. And then on next Thursday, the 23rd, we'll have the mayor candidates will be on with us the same time. I just wanted, before we close out, Ms. McMichael, are you there? Ms. McMichael, are you still with me?
Yes, ma'am, I'm here.
We have had the pleasure of, again, thank you for your time. And you're talking about dedication. This lady is dedicated for our community. We're working on a project, but we cannot tell you everything about it. But we want to just take just 2 minutes, just to tell you, and so you can see our excitement about it. We won't name what it is, but our goal it's called Help Us, Help Kids. And it's a facility we are looking to identify a facility so that we can be able to do things with not only the children in Adamsville. That's why this is a collaborative partnership with today. Ms. Glover from her community, we have Mr. Rushing from his community. And so this is just not a facility for Adamsville. It is for the children of Atlanta. And the place is just going to be so outstanding, like nothing has ever been done before in Southwest Atlanta. So we will be getting with all of the nonprofits, all the candidates, because we're seeking your support. Whether you have been chosen as the elected official to represent us or not, we still want you to help us help kids. And Ms. McMichael, without saying who it is, we'll make the announcement next month to everybody. But just take a few minutes and what do you see this vision that we've been working on for the past couple of months? How do you feel? And just share some of the information with them without stating what it is.
I feel that this is a foundation for our community. It's just building a foundation for all generations to come, from early, like I say, from early to beyond. And it's just been a phenomenal journey to just be able to connect with such amazing people who have passion for their community. Just as Ms. Harris, her crew, Georgia Stand Up, it's just something that we're connecting with. And I can't wait till we're able to announce it. It's hard to talk about it without announcing too much information, but it's just a sight to see.
And we want to thank everybody. I especially thank you, Ms. McMichael, for the dedication that you have and for being here with us today. Georgia Stand Up have a thing, when they call, we come. Same thing we do with another organization that's been with us for a number of years, Park Pride, and Georgia Stand Up, our fiscal agents for one of our community organizations. So again, it has been our privilege and it's been our pleasure to be here with you today. I'm hoping that you've found this session informative. And I know it's going to make a difference because the residents see your signs all over the city. But today they have the opportunity to put a face with the sign. And again, we're going to ask you to give us some information so that we can get the information out to everyone that we possibly can. We're going to be giving this information to all the communities that you represent so they'll know who you are and that you came before us. And you made some issues and some promises. And we're going to be accountable first. And then you be accountable as well. So again, it is our pleasure. Thank Georgia Stand Up for all the technical support that they've given us. And we just want to say we are finished. Ms. Aria, do you want to say anything before we close?
I just want to say thank you again for those who joined us today during this installment of our Adamsville Community Candidates Meet and Greet. Georgia Stand Up is all about the voter education, voter registration, and all. And anytime we can provide and help community members get a little bit more information about what they should do, it always fulfills our hearts. So thank you so much for joining. For those of you who will view, thank you for all of the candidates that joined to express their interest. And also thank you for Adamsville for putting this on. Remember that it's all about the community, and to not only just know your candidates, also register to vote and get out to vote.
Bye, everybody.